My fellow Millvalians, Pittsburghers, and suburbanites, I, Brian Crawford, the chairman of the Millvale Music Festival, do solemnly swear to hold true to the principles and promises I have made throughout the planning process of this event. We will bring great music to the amazing venues throughout the borough. We will create an atmosphere that the musicians enjoy, which is orderly and well planned, including hosts and stage managers. We will make Millvale rock. My opponent has proposed building a wall between Millvale and Shaler. I said, Mr. Anti-Millvale Music Festival, tear down this wall. My opponent uses a barrage of tweets to put down his enemies. We will use our tweets to showcase Millvale as the shining city along the river. I am Brian Crawford. I am the master of the Millvale Shore, broadcasting here on the Millvale Music Festival Facebook page at Millvale Music, and I am very happy to have with me today SIKES right across the table from me.
Hey, how's
Brian
it going,
Howe,
everybody?
Brian.
Hi,
Brian
Brian.
Squared.
Fellow Brian.
Yes, and
What up?
yes, I strongly and I firmly will hold true to those values that we expressed in the beginning of today's show. I just felt it was appropriate to reiterate that in the wake of tomorrow's inauguration.
I believe in you. You got my vote.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, I mean, there was another person in the running for chairman. He had these terrible ideas, and the committee bestowed the honor upon myself. So
Alrighty.
we are here.
Sounds
But
good.
It's going to be a great festival. I am excited. Lots of buzz, lots of interest in the festival. And we opened up today's show with Nuclear Drone and A Better Way, both of Greywalker, which is a band that you are in. You are involved
Affirmative.
in
I am.
many different projects, that being one of the very successful projects that you are involved in.
That is true.
So,
Yes.
Yes, the Millvale Music Festival, it is going to be May 13th, all throughout Millvale, including the Millvale Studios, where we are broadcasting right now, courtesy of the River's Edge, one of our sponsors. A big shout out to the River's Edge Radio Network and to the Millvale Community Development Corporation, our first two sponsors for this year's event. Whoop, whoop. Yes, awesome. And we have another announcement, too, and I will save that for the end of today's program.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's what we like to call a tease.
I like it.
So, Brian, tell me about yourself. What are you doing in the Millvale Music Festival, and why are you sitting here in the Millvale Studios?
Well, I play in the band Greywalker,
Yes.
and I believe we are going to be playing at the Millvale Music Festival.
I think you have a shot.
So that is part of the reason why I am here.
Okay.
And I am also part of SIKES in the New Violence, which is another project that I am in, and I am hoping that we are also playing the Millvale Music Festival.
Well, you're involved in the committee, so that will certainly, I think, help your chances.
Yes.
But yeah, no, you're Greywalker. You guys were rated the best metal band in Pittsburgh.
Second
And,
best.
second best. Oh,
Yes.
okay. I thought you were rated number one. See, here
You're number two.
I'm just raising you up
Yeah.
right here.
Shout
on the
outs to
show.
Bethlehem.
So,
They're
okay,
the homies.
Bethlehem. They were number one. Very
Yes.
cool. Yeah, another awesome, great metal band in Pittsburgh. And people don't always realize, if they're not in the scene, how big the metal scene is here in Pittsburgh. It's massive. It's either the second or third largest in the country.
I think I have seen that on
Seen
some
that on
sort of
multiple reports.
Yeah, it's big. There are a lot of bands doing a lot of really, really awesome stuff in Pittsburgh. So
Yeah,
it's
the
cool
music scene here is awesome.
yeah,
really great.
across all genres, it's great. That's why, I think that's part of the reason why it's so much fun and such a necessity to do something like the Millvale Music Festival in Pittsburgh, because there's so many great bands across all genres of music. And right here, all around us. So.
Oh yeah, you can look up at the ceiling here in the studio. You could see all sorts of great albums from various local bands.
Yeah, before
here
we
in
started,
Millvale.
I felt kind of upset that I didn't know about this, or else I would have brought something to
Yeah, you should bring
contribute.
a CD, because we do have your guys' music available. It's
Yeah,
you're on
I
the
don't
network
have
and-
I don't keep CDs on me, but hey,
Yeah, next
this
time.
isn't the last time I'll probably be down
Probably
here.
not the last time, and probably not the last time that we'll see each other, being
Exactly.
that we're both involved
Yeah,
in this
I
event.
will definitely bring you some music for the ceiling.
That'll be great. Yeah, it's very cool. My ultimate goal, what I would love to do one day, is to create some sort of rack behind this chair, so that way I can put the different CDs behind the
Oh, yeah.
person who's on camera, so people can kind of see the awesome different album art.
Hey,
Because
you
the
know,
albums themselves are really fantastic. The artwork on the
I'm good
albums.
at building things, so if you need some help, you let me
There we
know.
go. I will do
Yeah,
so.
we'll talk. We'll talk
So
about it later.
yes. So we're here to talk about the music festival,
Hmm.
and we're here to talk about why you're an asset to the music festival. But before we talk about you and what all you do, why don't we talk about what you're going to be doing at the music festival? What is your role in the Millvale Music Festival?
Why don't you tell me?
You're going to be helping to organize and book some of the bands under Jonathan's committee.
I sure am.
Yes.
And I think my plan is to have a focus on more of the hip hop and rap aspect
Mm-hmm.
of the Pittsburgh community because, obviously that's one of the biggest exports of Pittsburgh music.
Yes.
There's a lot of musicians that have, broke into the mainstream world, but definitely our hip hop and rap exports are very regarded. So there's a very, very strong hip hop community in Pittsburgh and a lot of talented acts, and it would be a shame to not have that as part of this music festival.
Do you feel like they maybe don't get as much of the limelight as they should in other festivals, or is that something you think that will be unique in bringing here in the Millville Music Festival, or do you think
Some festivals have had a spotlight on it and
Mhm.
others haven't. I think that there's this kind of an unfortunate stigma against like just kind of like based around an ignorance of what the hip hop community or a rap community might bring
Mhm.
to a festival that is just completely misguided, And so maybe some festivals just don't want anything to do with that, or some festivals are just geared towards like maybe bringing a more family friendly type of thing, and
Yeah.
it could be family friendly. It's not all bad things, but for some
No.
reason there's again that stereotype and that stigma that
Well, that actually came out
yeah,
in our discussions
yeah,
here in planning the original planning meetings where we were picking out different venues, and we're still working to finalize an entire list of venues. But here at Millvale Studios, we had talked about making this the metal stage, and one of the guys said, "Oh, well, what about all the artwork and things like that? Is it going to be destroyed?" And Jonathan's like, "No, they're metal people are respectful of other people's art and
yeah.
everything else." So there's lots of different
Oh,
misconceptions
definitely. I
about
think that
different
it's
genres of
funny,
music.
I spent like my two main things that I'm involved in are, the metal community and the hip hop community, and there's huge misunderstandings about both of
Both of
them.
them,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like at heavy metal shows, we're not sacrificing anything or, causing a ruckus or, ripping each other's limbs apart. And then at hip hop shows too, it's the same thing. There isn't like a whole bunch of awful things happening or like
Plus, they're a lot more
it's
diverse too than people
exactly.
realize.
And
Both
whenever you're
genres.
when you scale it back to a like a local DIY aesthetic, everybody that's there is part of the community and they just want to see it thrive. They're all people that are involved and want to see it grow. So nobody is, looking for trouble. Everybody
Yeah,
just
'cause
wants
you want
to share
wanna
their art and
grow
be a
your
part
brand,
of
and
it and have a good time.
absolutely.
Totally.
Zach Kime of the Knox Boys, he just gave you a shout out on
Shout
the
out to
Facebook
Zach.
page. So if anybody has any questions or concerns about the festival, you can feel free to tweet me at RiverTalkPGH, or you can also leave a comment like Zach did on our Facebook Live feed going on
Shout out
at
to
the
Zach.
Music Festival Facebook page.
Homie.
So, yeah. So, tell me about your background in music. What makes you the perfect guy to be on this committee? Why were you asked by Jonathan to join the
Well,
booking committee?
I have been outside of Sykes and Greywalker. I've played in various different bands of various genres for like the past decade
Mm-hmm.
in Pittsburgh. Electronic music from like IDM noise type stuff to like indie rock bands, hardcore bands, heavy metal bands, hip hop stuff. And
Mhm.
through that, I've met so many different people in so many different little pockets of the city that a lot of people don't get to meet. Like I've seen a lot of different bubbles of the DIY scene that
Mhm.
others haven't. So I know a lot of people, and I feel like I have a really good understanding of the city as a whole when it comes to DIY music. You know, I've been doing my own podcast for the past 3 years.
Yeah. Start the Beat with SIKES.
yeah.
And on that podcast, you bring in a lot of those people. I was looking through
Every
some of your
week
guests
I have
and things like that.
Yeah, every week I have different artists and musicians on, and I'm like almost 120 episodes deep now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I know a lot of people. I have a good understanding and a good work ethic, and I think that's why I'm a good part. And especially with doing the hip hop stuff, I know a lot of talented people in the hip hop community, and I think that I would be definitely the person to help guide like the right ones together for making that would be a good contribution to an event like this, for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what you're able to accomplish. I know you've accomplished so much, and what's awesome is looking at your resume. Everything that you get involved in seems to take off and seems to be successful. Do you credit that to your hard work?
I mean, I think that, you know, it's with anything. You get what you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're working nonstop, you're going to see results. And, you know, obviously it's like, I'm pretty confident about like the quality of the work that I put out. And like a lot of that, it's not all me. You know, I work with a ton of talented musicians and talented artists and people behind me. But, you know, I just work nonstop. Like as soon as I leave here, I'm going back to my house and I'm doing a recording session with Mandy from the New Violence. And then after that, we're going to a practice space and we're practicing for the show that we're doing on the X.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's nonstop. And before this, you know, I worked all day at, so I worked at Get Hip Records. So you know, it's all I do is just work. It's what I love. So.
We got a message from Deanna on Facebook. She's asking if we would consider a certain act. Deanna, what I would suggest for you is to go to millvalemusic.org, and I'll put the website in the page as well. And millvalemusic.org, at the top of the page, there is a place where you can sign up. And if you have any problems, go back to episode 1 of the Millvale Music Minute, and we actually show you where the page is and what the form looks like and what all you need to fill out there.
Absolutely. And again, this was something that I would definitely bring up to anybody who's interested in playing the festival. Again, you know, just do your research, go on the website, you know, the form's right there, just fill it out. And also understand that, you know, they've already gotten a ton.
Over 240.
Yeah.
Bands
I mean,
have
we
applied,
said
so.
basically, we said at the beginning of this conversation, there's a lot of talent around us.
It's unbelievable.
But unfortunately, there's just only so much time in the festival. So
everybody's gonna everybody apply. Yeah,
everybody apply. You're all gonna be considered. But you know, if you don't make if we aren't able to fit you in, you know, it's nothing personal. It's just a matter of time and
What's
space.
awesome too is being that one of our sponsors is the River's Edge. There's also the chance that you could get on the radio network. So there are other opportunities. To get your music out there as well.
Yeah, definitely don't doubt yourself. If you don't think, you know, reach out. That's the one thing that I can suggest the most to people, and kind of goes back to you mentioning like projects that I'm involved in, like taking off. It really all has to do with putting yourself out there, letting people know that you're an artist and doing things, and just contacting people. If people know that you're around, eventually, you know, you'll get known. Or people will be aware of you. It's the only way to let people know that you're doing stuff is to tell them. So definitely submit.
Yeah, I told someone the other day, they asked me, and first off, just to be on the record, I'm actually not on the booking committee. There's a separate committee. So people always ask me, like, oh, can you get me in? Can you get me in? Well, it's like, no, we have certain committees for different tasks. We have a fundraising committee. We have a sponsorship committee. We have a volunteers committee and things like that. But one guy asked me the other day, he said, hey, you know, could you get me on this show before I give it up? And I said, man, you know, like, you can't be that passionate about it if you're going to completely base your career on a favor.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. You got to make your own success and make your own lot in life, and just that hard work and never giving up. And if you're that passionate about something, you'll just continue to push forward.
Yeah. Anytime, like, a lot of people ask me about like doing different things, you know, whether it's like, hey, like, I'm interested in starting a podcast, or I'm interested in like recording music, blah, 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 blah. What do I need to do? And I always tell everybody the first thing that you need is just honestly a genuine passion to want. You actually have to want to do it.
Have to.
And if you want to do it, as cliche as this sounds, it will happen.
Yeah.
It's you'll overcome whatever the other obstacles are. You just need to actually want to do it, and then you can figure it out from there.
Yeah, if you have that passion and that drive, you'll make anything work. I think back to Rant, which is really, I believe, the first of these major festivals, and they kind of got the ball rolling on a lot of this stuff. We were lucky enough to be involved with them at the Acoustic Brunch last year, and that weekend was crazy. I remember, because I work a job outside of the radio network as well, and it's an overnight job. So I started off that evening, Friday evening, doing a live broadcast, worked overnight, then Saturday all day at the Brewfest down in Millvale, down at the Riverfront Park, worked overnight again, and went straight to the Acoustic Brunch. So it was like 3 days straight, basically. I was awake,
Yeah.
but, if you're that passionate about something, you're going to make it happen.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why this festival, because we've got people like yourself and myself and this great committee of unbelievable people organized, I think that's the reason why we've seen such a growth in the festival and so much interest so quickly.
Yeah, I think it's really awesome to see so many people super interested in this festival and wanting to be a part of it. Just keep that passion up across the board. Like, this is only one event out of hundreds that happen throughout the year. So even if you aren't, able to be a part of this, still come out, meet people, and then make it a point to be as, what's the word that I'm looking for? Be as persistent about pursuing any other gig throughout the year. Get your name out there and just keep pushing. It's super important.
Why is it important to become a part of a festival like this? What are some of the benefits for artists?
The coolest thing about playing events like this, or even just coming to events like this, just as an artist, is the opportunity to meet so many people that you probably wouldn't meet on a normal basis. Especially if you're somebody who's older like me. You can only make so much time in a day to go out to certain events. And a lot of the times I'm only able to make it out to events that I'm a part of. So to be a part of an event where I can see, dozens of bands and artists and things that, just, it's so dense and all in front of your face, you're going to be exposed to multiple things that you didn't know existed around Pittsburgh. And, you're going to find something new that you liked. You're going to make new friends. And, it's just an awesome way to see what the city has to offer in a really short time frame. So if you're somebody that can't make it out to shows every week, just the general working person or someone who has,
well, if you work overnight,
there are other lives, you can't make it out to events. These all-day local festivals are a really cool way to, really see some of like the best of the best, because the people that are, choosing the artists to play and setting everything up, are really picking the ones that they feel highlight each part of the city in a way that, will represent the festival best.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm excited. Talk to me real quick about your podcast, because it does really tap into the local scene. What are some of the more interesting conversations you've had?
That's a really hard question, The one that always sticks with me the most is there is a producer who works in the hip-hop community, and he outside of it as well. His name's Mike Hitt. I had him on the show. He was one of the first episodes I did. He's in like the first 50. But he really opened my eyes about just self-promotion and getting yourself out there. The conversation that I had with him happened in a time where, I was getting ready to release a new album and I wasn't too sure what I needed to do. I wasn't really like savvy on like promoting myself through social media and being really knowledgeable about it. But, he was there. He was almost like that, like someone who was a couple grades above me, giving me advice in school, and I listened to that after I recorded it. I probably listened to that episode 4 or 5 times, again, just taking in all the information from him. And I really want to get him back on the show this year, since it's been a couple years, and see where he's at compared to where I'm at now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of when I had Mike Speranzo in here.
Okay.
And just about how he built Smalls and a lot of the efforts and struggles he went through. In that, it was kind of reminiscent of what we're dealing with here in the River's Edge, getting this off the ground. So it's cool to be able to have those discussions, and it's awesome to have a platform like this to do that. So
yeah, I think I did the podcast. I guess started it almost kind of selfishly. I felt that I was not so great at talking to people in a forum like this, and I also wanted to have the opportunity to actually sit down and talk with other artists and people that I don't know. You know, there's plenty of conversations that I've had with people that I've never met in person, and now it's like they're in my house and we're talking for an
that's
hour
cool.
about like what drives us.
Now, do you just reach out to anybody?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I've done like I've reached out to bands on tour and done some conversations with people on tour, but what I've found works best for the show and me is just sticking out to local people, just anybody that's creating anything.
Well, the reason why I asked is like some people, like there's different schools of thoughts. I know somebody, another podcaster who has a fantastic show, and he's great, but he only brings in people that he's already met, and
Oh yeah, no, not at all.
necessarily people who he's already had on the show before, but people who he knows, and he can kind of, I guess, know where the conversation is going. Whereas a lot of times I just go out and I've never met the person, and I message them, hey, come on in, and we just make it work.
I feel that the best conversations come from people that you don't know that well. Some of the worst conversations that I've had have actually been with some of my best friends, because they come in and we sit down and it's like, well, it's kind of hard to have a genuine conversation about things that I've known about you for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
So I prefer it to be strangers or people that I just loosely know, acquaintances like that.
Now, did you ever have a situation where someone came in and you thought they would be great and they were awful?
I mean, I've had a couple situations where people kind of came over and just kind of, drank. I was drinking too. I mean, it's a long format thing. People just kind of get drunk and rambly. The conversations don't go anywhere. They're still kind of entertaining to listen to, but only really entertaining for like friends of
the
it's
people,
not like a
people
really
who know them. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not necessarily like an insight onto like DIY art culture that anybody could enjoy, but I haven't had any situations that were like so bad that I couldn't air. Anything I've ever recorded has gone up, so.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've ever had anything that's been too bad. A few times. There was one guy. It was an awesome interview, and I feel bad because the guy was on a show. It was a sci-fi show, and it was creating like the monsters.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like the fake monsters, and it was so cool because he was so talented, and he called in. He had the worst reception in the world. I had to cancel in the middle of the interview.
That's a bummer.
He's messaging me back. He's like, "What's going on? What's going on?" I said, "Hey, if I can't hear you, no one else can hear you either, because everything we do here is live. So it's at least with my show. So but no, great show. If everybody wants to check it out, you can find it. It's part of the Epicast network. It is Start the Beat with Sykes. You can listen to him via Sykes or Greywalker. There's multiple.
Please check it out, especially if you're an artist that's interested in some more in-depth conversation about how to manage social media or getting records pressed or just recording music, writing music, anything. I've talked with people from all across the board on that.
What do you do with Get Hip Records, by the way? We did not get into that.
I do a ton of things.
Okay.
The thing that I do the most nowadays, honestly, is I am, quote, the shipping manager. So I ship out a lot of the records that we're selling. I'm that guy. I was originally hired as the screen printer, and I still kind of have my hands in the screen printing aspects of Get Hip. I also do like some graphic design work for Get Hip, whether it's like stuff for the albums that we're releasing or some flyer design stuff, and then sometimes I'm doing like audio restoration on projects that we might be re-releasing and things like that. So it's a kind of a tight ship, there's only about 6 of us that work there, and everybody does a half dozen things. So it's independent business. It's just how it is. Yeah.
Very cool. Check it out. They have a lot of great bands that are with Get Hip as well, so check them out as well. But I think that wraps it up for this week of the Millvale Music Minute.
Whoop whoop.
I'd like to thank the River's Edge Radio Network, Pittsburgh's Voice for Local Music, and also the Millvale Community Development Corporation, who work to strengthen our community through business development, housing, revitalization, grants, and individual aid. That is the Millvale Community Development Corporation. You can find them out on the borough's webpage. I'm Brian Crawford.
I'm Brian Howe.
You're listening
Sykes.
to the Millvale Music Minute
Woo woo.
via the Millvale Music Facebook page.